All right, guys, so we are back from the Zoom interference again. All right, so as I had mentioned in the previous part of this, so I was saying that you could use these values that you get from the point. So you use the x value here. So you know from this, you know that x would be equal to the -1 and y would be equal to, so x equal -1, y equal to +3. You know what the gradient is. You put it in the general form, which is y equal mx plus c. Remember, now you're just trying to calculate c when you do this. So you put in the y value, which is 3. Put in the gradient, which is 6. Put in the x value, which is -1 plus c. Multiply 6 times 1, you get -6. So you have -6 plus c. So you bring the negative across to the left-hand side of the equation, it becomes a +6. So we see that c would be equal to +9. Now, once we know c and we know m, the equation, when we're writing the equation, we are only substituting the value for m and the value for c. So what we are doing now is to put m equal to 6 and c equal to 9 in y equal mx plus c. Remember, in the equation, you're not putting in any x or y value now. You're just putting in the gradient value and the y-intercept. So this would give you y equal, what is m? M would be
6, sir.
6. And then you have x. I had put in the 9 here to be the c, but that should have been c in the general form. So now we are going to put the 9 in the equation. So this is what you get.
But sir, that's the same equation I was giving you.
Oh, I wasn't attentively listening to you. So I guess I was just eager to write it for you. But everybody, everybody got this? Miss Dorothy, did you get this?
No, sir, I never reached all that far.
But do you understand how to get it now?
I'm getting it, sir.
I don't like that answer. That sounds like you're not there yet.
No, sir. I mean, from the start, I'm getting what you're saying, but I didn't reach to the answer level that you have.
Yeah, but I'm asking now that I've explained it to you, do you know how to do it? Would you be able to do it if you get it again?
Yes, sir. I'm getting the understanding now.
You have to practice this, Dorothy. You don't sound very confident at all. What about you, Mr. Lamar? Mr.
Sir,
would you be able to do a question like this?
sir, I see the formula, so yeah.
Okay. Ms. Green, you're fine with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so let us move on. So the general principle will be the same for most of the questions that you come across. Either you get the gradient at a point, or you might be given 2 points. In that case, you are able to calculate the gradient. All right, so for this question, we would know that the gradient is 6. So we could put 6 where m is. We also see that the x and y value from this point would be y equal 3 and x equal -1. We could put those in it to calculate our value c to be 9. Now, after we have gotten c to be 9, then we now replace the c in the general form with 9 and the m with 6, and that give us our equation. All right. Here we have now the other scenarios. So I had mentioned 3 scenarios. We have done 2 already, and this is the next scenario. So these are pretty much the only 3 scenarios that you would probably come across when you're doing questions. So here we have 2 points. We are not given the gradient, but we are given 2 points. Now, recall that you can calculate the gradients using 2 points if you know the y value in one of the point. So let's call this the y value in the second point, and we subtract the y value in the first point over the x value in the second point, and the point that we are referring to would be the point P and the point Q. So the x value in the second point minus the x value in the first point. And the reason why I'm putting this equation here is to accommodate those who were not here yesterday. So Mr. Lamar, you can use this formula based on these points to calculate the gradient, right? So if you want to call this one x2, and this would be y2. So it means that this would be x1. And this would be y1. And if you plug these values in the formula, you should be able to calculate the gradient. All right, guys, so calculate the gradients and find C, and then write the equation. I'm giving you about 5 minutes to do that. All right, so your 5 minutes begin now. Okay, Mr. Lamar, asking a question. Are you finished?
Sir, I got the answer.
Huh?
Sir, I got the answer.
What you got? You got the equation or you got the answer for the gradient?
I got the answer for the equation.
All right, so what you get for your equation? Let me write it down.
Okay, sir. M equal.
No, the equation should be in the form y equals something.
Okay. Sir, so y2, 15.
So what you do, you're working out the m value. That's what you're doing?
So the equation that you have, m equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
All right. Let me clarify myself. So this is the equation to find the gradient. But what I was referring to is the equation for the line. So if you work out this will give you only the gradient. So this is what you work out, Mr. Lamar?
So can you repeat that, please?
Now I was saying that this formula or this equation that you get is just to calculate the m value.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, all right. So let us see what you get in terms of that value. So you write y1 to be what? Right? y2 to be what?
y2 is 15.
Right. No, I know what it is now. I just want you to walk me through it.
15 minus 19.
15 minus 19.
Over 30 minus 22.
Over 30 minus
22.
All right. So what you get from that?
So you get -4 divided by
negative 4 divided by 8.
Which is -0.5.
All right. Now, you may choose to put your gradient in a fractional form. So -1/2 is
yes, sir.
more appropriate. All right. All right, so that would be the value for m, Mr. Lamar.
Yes, sir.
So what you need now is also to find what c is. Remember, you have the general form for the equation y equal to mx plus c. So we are using this general equation all the time when we are working. All right, Mr. Lamar?
Yes, sir.
Right, so we know what m is.
So no mx, mx, c is subject.
So we want to calculate the value for c. But in order to calculate the value for c, we also going to need a y value and an x value.
Yes, sir.
We know what the m value is. So we plug in a y value and an x value and the m value and calculate those to get c. Okay,
sir. So in order to make c the subject, you'd have to
plug in the values first and then.
Okay, sir. Right, sir, but where do you have the values?
All right, so what are the values that you use?
So why would that be 8?
All right. So you cannot just use a random value like that. You have to choose values based on the points.
Yes, sir, but we never worked it out already.
What?
Oh, why I top one? Why would that be -4?
From these points, you have to choose the x coordinate as an x value and the y coordinate as a y value. So which of these points you're going to choose your y, x and y from?
Oh, sir.
So this
one,
point
x1 is x1.
And this have y equal 19. So you have to choose the
one of those. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So either you use this one at P or you use this one at Q.
Yes, sir. So x1 and y1.
All right. So you do the substitution of those now in this.
So y.
And then you're going to, I want you to do it on your own, Mr. Lamar. So put in the value for y here, put in the value for x, put in the minus a half, and do your calculation for C. And then now you give me an answer.
Sir?
Okay, so what you get now for C?
I got C to be 12.5.
All right, so you work it out to be 12.5, which is 12 and a half. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
let us just verify your calculation. So you put
Sir,
in
yes.
which point you're using now? The x and y value at P or the x
Yes, sir.
and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so y would be 19. M we know would be negative a half. And x we would have to choose x to be 22. And then plus C. All right, you have made that substitution, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Makes it.
So half of 22 would be what? So that would be 11. So that would be negative 11. You have to simplify as you go along. Now you can bring this 11 over here. So when you bring it to, it's negative 11, you bring it on the left-hand side, it becomes positive. So you have 19 plus 11 equal to C. So that would be what? C should be what?
Should I get 30?
Right, so that's what C is supposed to be. So what you did...
Sir, but if y equal mx plus c, c would be equal y minus mx.
No, man, you're not make, all right. If you even do that, right? If you transpose and then plug in the formula. So you say C equal to
Y minus mx.
Y minus mx. And this is, you have to be careful now, because remember now, m is a negative value. So you have y would be equal to what? 19 minus a half times 22. All right. Now, if you multiply this negative half by 22, it becomes negative 22. So that would be 19 minus 22. And if you minus a minus, it becomes a plus. So it becomes plus 22. Sorry, it wouldn't be 22. It should be 11. I remember I multiplied by a half, so it's supposed to be 11. Let me fix that. So this here should be 11. You following me, Mr. Lamar?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this negative a half of 22 going to be, it's a negative, so it has to be a negative in here, negative 11. And so if you have a minus of minus 11, it becomes a positive 11. So C here still will give you 30. So what you need to do is to go back through your calculation and see what the error you have made, because you have made an error somewhere there.
Yes, sir.
You found it? You have to try and find that error now because you have to be able to fix it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. So if you found the error, then that should be good. All right. Anybody else did the calculation and get C to be 30? Raise your hand. Okay. I mean, you did it on your own before I actually work it out? Be honest now. Show your hand.
No, sir. You gave me the idea because I was what I
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
What I did initially, sir, was to take away the y2, y1, and use the 8 for the value of y. But then you suggested we use from 1 point only. So I did that.
Right. Well, that's good. That means you're learning, you're understanding. All right, so if everybody is good with this now, we can clear this and move on. Raise your hand if I can move on, guys. All right. This way some is speaking on the behalf of everybody, it seems. All right, so we use this formula to calculate our gradients because once you have 2 points, you have to use this formula to calculate a gradient. Now, depending on which point you use, the gradient will still be the same, whichever one of the points you use. So it doesn't matter which point you choose your values from. All right, so we find M to be equal to minus a half. Now we put the points, using the point P, we put in the value P, X equal 22, Y equal 19. And then now we calculate our gradient, our value for C, and it turns out to be 30 degrees. 30. Guess I'm kind of having a lot of things going on in my brain right now. All right, so once you find C and you find the gradient, then you plug in those values in the y equal mx form, wherever you have m, you put negative a half, wherever you have C, you put 30. So your equation will be y equal to minus a half x plus 30. All right, guys, moving along. Now, this is another method you could use if you were to calculate M and C. However, if you are not good at, if you are not comfortable using this method, stick to the one that you are comfortable with. Now, this method is really taking the form of simultaneous equation. Unfortunately, we have not touched that yet in the algebraic session, but I am hoping that next week we can look at some equations. All right, what we would generally do is to formulate two equations based on the form y equal mx plus c. So we use the points, the coordinates of the points. So we put in 22 and 19 in the form y equal mx plus c. So we get one equation. We use the other points, 30 and 15. We put it wherever the y and the x is, and we get another equation. So next what we do is to solve these two equations simultaneously. Some of you may be already familiar with simultaneous equation. So once you have the signs are the same, so above you have 2 pluses, then what you will do, you subtract the bottom equation from the top equation. So you take away 15 from 19, you get 4 on the left-hand side. 30m from 22m, you get negative because you're taking away a larger number from a smaller number, so the result is going to be negative 8m, right? And the c subtract from c will give you 0. So from here now, you can solve this equation for m. So you see 4 is equal to 8m. So you divide both sides by negative 8. And you see that m is equal to 4 over negative 8, which is the same as negative a half. All right. So we put in that value for m now, being a half, in one of the equation. And then now we use one of the points, and then we calculate for c. And so we see that c equals 30. So now we still have the two values for m and c. So we plug it in now in the form y equal mx plus c. So we put negative r for m, 30 for c, and we still get the same equation. So this is just another way in which you could approach the same question that we did just now. All right, here we have another question. So I would like you now to try this question using whichever method you want. All right. And when you're finished, raise your hand so that I see who already get the answer. You may not be able to finish this question on time, but let us see how far we can go with it. All right. All right, go ahead, guys, solve this question. All right, go ahead, Ms. Raysom. Did you get an answer?
Sir. Yes, sir.
All right. You want to walk me through what?
For the gradient, sir, I got 3/2.
Yes, sir. So first I calculated the gradient, which y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, sir. So that would be 10 minus 4.
Okay, 10 minus 4.
Over 7 minus 3.
7 minus 3.
Yes, sir, which would equal to 6 over 4.
6 over 4 divided by?
When simplified, sir, 2 into 4 goes 2 times.
So we get what?
3 over 2, sir.
Okay, so that's a gradient.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else get the gradient? Raise your hand. All right, continue, Mr. Sam.
Yes, sir. Then we move on to find C now, sir. So from use the first point, which is 3, 4. So I replace y with 4, and then equal. So y would equal to 4, equal to the m, which would have been 3 over 2, and the x value would now turn 4 in brackets, sir.
No, the x value is 3.
Oh, yeah, my mistake, sir.
All right, you can continue with this. Tell me what.
Sir. Sorry, may I correct it first? Come back.
That's how to get Mr. Some in your correction.
Yes, sir. Me get the 9 over 4 minus the 9 over 2, sir. Maybe try it there, so but me not say it kind of puzzle me if me should do something else.
Is the LCM you have to find?
Sir?
Yeah, the LCM have to find from here.
Okay, which would have been the 2.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. We're kind of going, the time kind of slipping away. So let me just quickly just go through the process. So based on this, we have m equal 3 over 2, c equal to 1/2. What is our equation?
Y equal to 3 over 2x plus minus half, sir. Minus 1 over 2.
Good. So that would be the equation. All right, guys. All right, so I'm going to clear this. All right, so here you could use the same simultaneous equation form if you want. And then now you would have 2 equations and you solve them simultaneously. You would get m to be 1.5, which is the same as 3 over 2. And then you would get c to be -1/2, and you plug in. So instead of using 1.5, you could use 3/12. So you'll get the same equation. All right, guys. All right, so with that said, we'll be stopping here for today, and then we'll continue. Hopefully we'll continue next week. All right, guys.